Welcome to episode 10 of High Above Courtside. My name is Jason. That's Steve. That's Anthony. Guys, what's going on?
What up, fellas?
Just chilling, homie.
So, we're going to get into the Rockets game first. Celtics took a tough loss, 114 to 112. Steve, I'm going to start with you off the bat. What'd you like and dislike about this game for the Celtics?
As a fan, even though we lost, objectively, this game was great. I mean, it was unfortunate the way it ended with the miscommunication between Jalen and Luke on the last possession of the game. And I hate to do this, but I kind of attribute it to the mental lapses that's been happening under Joe's tutelage as of recent. I'm a big fan of Joe. I love his approach to the game, offensively, defensively, but the mental mistakes have been piling up recently. And let me preface this because people are going to jump down my throat. Before I go on my big rant, the Celtics, when fully healthy and clicking on all cylinders, is still the best team in the NBA, in my opinion. But this team has blown 9 fourth-quarter leads so far this season, and that ties the total of all of last season. Joe's whole persona is the mental alpha, and we just haven't seen that as of late with these miscues, whether that's getting the players in position or the strategies or what have you. They had a 101-89 lead with 8:22 left in the fourth, and we were outscored 25-11 the rest of the quarter. I mean, they went 3.5 minutes without a basket. And after the game, Joe took responsibility for not having the guys ready or having them in the best positions. And I understand we were down Al, we were down Derek, down Sam, but having both Porzingis and Luke out there at the end of the game is tough, especially on that Sengun dunk. I mean, it just wasn't the best to have both our slow-footed 2 7-footers out there when the ball's at the hash and then he just dots in. They're above the 3-point line. Like, you just got to have a little bit more athleticism out there. I know you want the size and everything, but it's just I just didn't think that was the best time for that. And as for the last play, it looked like Joe was trying to call out a late switch between Jalen and Luke, which attributed to the miscommunication. And then Jalen was behind the play and Thompson just beelined it full speed to the paint, pulled up for that 10-foot bunny. And to be honest, I thought Tatum could have, sold out there and tried to block the shot, at least made it a little bit more difficult. But, it's an open look for the game winner. Just like, the Pelicans game, there was an open look. And he just happened to miss it, McCullen. Let's get into Dylan Brooks, though, because fuck that guy. We're 3 minutes in, and I'm already swearing. 36 points, 3 rebounds, 0 assists, straight bucket getter in this one. 13 for 23, 56.5% from the field, 10 for 15, 10 fucking 3-pointers, 66.7%. The devil magic continues to strike us again. For perspective, the previous game, Dylan Brooks went 1 for 3 from 3, 5 for 8 from the field. He had 13 points. The game after the Celtics game, he went 3 for 8 from 3, 4 for 12 from the field, 11 points. Just whatever, dude. He's shooting 38.5 from the field, from 3 this year. That obviously got ticked up when he hit those 10 3-pointers against us. But Zach Cox from the Herald, this has been floating around and circulating the web, highlights the lights out 3-point shooting that opponents have had against us since Christmas. They either set or tied the season high in threes. And let me just get this graphic real quick. I apologize because there's a lot of names on here. All right. Dylan Brooks, 10 of 15. Gabe Vincent, 4 for 7. These are all from 3. Derek Jones Jr., 4 for 7. New Orleans had Trey Murphy, 5 for 10. DeJounte Murray, 6 for 9. Keegan Murray, 5 for 8. Russell Westbrook, 4 for 9. Julius Randle, 5 for 7. And Jaden McDaniels, 4 for 8. Jarvis Walker from Indiana, 3 for 5. And then for Philly, Caleb Martin, 7 for 9. And Embiid, 4 for 5. I mean, I understand we're going to have to give up something. You got to play the percentages, and that's just like how it goes. You can't go balls to the wall all regular season. But in the last 24 games, the Celtics give up 8.8 makes on wide open threes, which is the closest defender 6 feet away, which is the most in the NBA. Dylan Brooks, for example, had 12 wide open threes. Oh, man, in that game, and he hit 8. NBA plays, regardless of the season percentages, they're going to be good at shooting wide open shots. It just is what it is. I mean, I know it's like a 1 game in, 1 game out. Like, you don't want to adjust your style too much. But, they wanted to focus their efforts on shutting down Sengun, shutting down Jalen Green, shutting down Van Fleet. And they did a good job of that. Those 3 guys totaled 30 points. Phenomenal. Ime Thompson and Dylan Brooks shot the lights out. But it's also like the way they're getting it. Maybe you let them open for 4 of them. But 8, I mean, maybe go up on this guy a little bit. But I mean, it's just like frustrating to me. The strategy hasn't worked for them lately, and like as I said, as a fan, it's a little frustrating. That's just what I wanted to rant on a little bit. I don't know if you guys have anything more positive to go on. I have some of the stuff I want to know lately.
Yeah, like you
Said that the open three thing does get annoying. I see the strategy. Like they were
Yeah.
clearly trying to take Sengun out of the game, which they did. But after he was like 5 for 5, I mean everyone screaming through TV like cover the guy. Like you have to get a hand in his face. And
Yeah.
I'm fine with the strategy, but like in the second half, it should have been like, all right, like if they're gonna beat us with Sengun getting twos in the paint, like let's not let Dylan Brooks rein him in from three. And it's not like he's Chris Paul out there and always gonna find the open guy. Like he'll keep jacking him even when he's covered. So yeah, that's frustrating. But I think the biggest thing from this game, and I don't have the on-off splits in front of me. I don't know if anyone else does, but they were awful when Tatum went to the bench in this game. And they've been awful for some years now when Tatum goes to the bench, and especially offensively. And that's kind of the biggest thing for me. In the fourth quarter, when what were they up 11 or 12
12.
late in the fourth, and they gave Tatum that mini break in the after he started the fourth, and then here comes a run, and it was like an 8-0 run. And that's to me like how their biggest issue going forward. It's like where does the offense come from when Tatum's off the court? And it's not that they can't, you don't have good offensive players. They just have no one to run the show and get open looks for guys. And if there was a worry for me going into the playoffs or down the road, it's like we have to be better when Tatum goes to the bench. It's like reaching like Jokic levels of like, it falls apart when he sits. So that's my biggest thing.
And that kind of goes into what I want to touch on for Porzingis. Like he was our best player on the court that game, man, because this guy's fucking handsy and he commits dumb fouls. He only played 25 minutes. Like he was shooting the ball, the cover off the ball. He picked up 5 fouls with just under 5 minutes left in the third quarter. He finished the game with 17 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 steals, 1 block, 6 of 8 shooting from the field at 75%, 3 for 4 from 3, 75%. He's just too good to not be available. And we were lucky Springer and Kata played as well as they did when they had to, because it was really bad. Like we need him.
Luke is awesome.
That Tatum stretch, non-Tatum minutes is so tough. We need to have a little conversation about him too. About when I'm talking about Porzingis about this month, he's averaging 19.3 points a game in January, 8.1 points in the first quarter on crazy efficiency. The only problem is he's blowing his load way too early. 42% of his points come in the first quarter. It's great for him to have a hot start and it helps us tremendously, but the problem is we need him to sustain that level of high play throughout the entirety of the game. I mean, it's a big problem, especially when our whole team is taking a regression in shooting. But you mentioned the Tatum minutes. Non-Tatum minutes are bad, but heliocentric Tatum kind of looked good there in the second half.
Yeah, it is. It's been good his entire career.
Yeah, and against the second best defense in the league. He was getting off any shot he wanted, or the reads to get any shot we wanted off. Jalen missed a couple wide open threes at the end there. Drew missed one that could have, gave us the win. But the sad part is that's just kind of the story of this season. It's either a shot there, a shot here, and we're just coming up short. Last year we were just lights out. So it's the sad part of it.
And that has a lot to do with the Jalen when Tatum's off and Jalen's on. And like last year it didn't look as bad because Drew Holiday was shooting 45% from three and Derek White was shooting 40+%. Yeah. KP wasn't injured, for the majority of the year. So, I mean, hopefully health changes it and just regression back to the means. But, I'd like to see those non-Tatum minutes get better. That's what worries me.
Yeah, especially like Tatum had in the second half, those 2 clutch layups. It was great to see him deck the ball, put his head to the, go to the basket. He also some great reads that weren't converted. The question you may ask is, where was he in the first half? Well, if you look at the effort it took him to drive through the doubles Houston was sending him, he was dissecting the defense, making the reads on the traps. He was getting trapped every time he went over half court. It takes a lot of fucking energy to do that. In general, never mind against the second best defense in the league and the second best team in the West. He finished the game 19-6-4. His shooting splits were absolutely horrendous. He hit all 8 of his free throws. I mean, that was a bright spot there. And all that shit that happened, right? We still were a last-second shot to go in to win the game. So
we had
I'm not
Of our
like,
top 6 out, so it's. I mean,
exactly,
there is
yeah.
some nuance to the conversation, but it's still a game you should win, and you shouldn't blow a 12-point lead coming down the stretch and have blown defensive assignments. It's it's frustrating. Is it the end of the world? No, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't want to bury this one because Luke had 3 great dunks. When he baptized Thompson, that was great. He had the putback, and then he had that just like grab the ball, one hot dribble, just came skying in with the Statue of Liberty dunk. It was awesome. So regardless of how the game ended for him, he's been trending up.
Also, best net rating in the league, Luke Cornett. Is he maybe the MVP? I don't know. He leads the league in net rating.
I mean, all that said, I'm optimistic in this team in the process looking for. We just need better results and turning that into W's because 40-20 is getting a little tighter game by game.
I will say too, though, for this game, I mean, Tatum scores any more than 6 points in the first half, they
Right,
probably win.
yeah.
Yeah, he put up a donut in the first half, So, if Tatum got
2021.
going, it's probably a different game, right? Different outcome, and we're talking about Celtics winning instead of them losing by like 2 points. So I don't know. And also too, I believe in this game was this the game that Al was like available to play? He just didn't see the floor.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
And then we
didn't
saw
play him.
Kata Tillman line up. Ugh.
So like if Al
like-
is healthy enough to be like available to play, let's say he was healthy and he could have gone in, would you have trusted Al instead of Cornette out there in that final play?
Oh, of course. And in a game that was meaningful, that's what would have been the case. And
Yeah.
then
yeah.
that blown switch at the end wouldn't have mattered because they wouldn't have switched. It would have been like, Al, just cover Thompson.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah.
I don't know. They should have thought about maybe doing that instead of running Cornette.
Yeah,
'cause
but,
Cornette got
I mean,
hurt too.
Something was
Had a
going
couple
on with
plays
him.
earlier.
I don't want to bring him in cold just for like 2 defensive
Yeah.
possessions and then something
That's
happened.
why spring is a better option. And like you said, like Luke got hurt. Like whatever happened to his abdomen, he looked like it was hurt.
Scal on the broadcast was saying that was what Franz Wagner was like. That was like the same reaction where he tore his like oblique or something. So they were
I'm so
worried
over
that he got
I'm
hurt.
so OD with like injuries.
And
that
He played
happen.
the,
Oh my
then he played
god!
football
Ah,
against Chicago.
yeah, the fuck.
I mean, we can move into the Chicago game now. I mean, Celtics win 122-100. Kind of a slap to the Bulls there. I mean, Anthony, what did you like about that bounce back game for the C's there?
Obviously, our man KP was absolutely unbelievable. I mean, every time he shoots one of those threes with one foot in front of the other, I'm like, I know he's hot right now, and I know he's like shooting 50% from 3, but I'm like, no, we don't want that. And then he splashes it from 31 feet. It's like, this is insane. Like, I couldn't imagine being a fan of another team and watching that, like, that horrible form and just seeing him hit 8 of them. So, I mean, it was awesome for him to get back and, hit his stride again. And for me, that's the biggest thing that I want to see the last 3 months of the season. Can KP stay healthy, and can he keep shooting the ball like this? Because remember, he didn't shoot the ball that great last year from 3. He was dominant in the post and best post player in the league, most efficient, but he was like high 30s from 3. I mean, if this guy's shooting 40+% from 3, look out in the playoffs. Look out, because he's going to defend the rim, he's going to space the floor, and he's going to take advantage of mismatches. So, I mean, it was an awesome KP game, and I thought Jalen was great. And what he should do more of. He just played off 2 feet in the paint over and over and over again. And I know it's the Bulls who are small and a horrible defensive team, but at least he took advantage of it. He didn't settle at all. It was just, let me get to the paint. These guys can't stop me. I'm too big and too strong. So I liked Jalen bouncing back with that performance as well.
You got to build good habits, and that's a team you could stack good habits on. But overall, big fan of hitting 40% of our threes. That's always fun.
Great.
Like you said, the unicorn hitting his stride, baby. He was unreal, crazy efficient lately. In his last 10 games, he's averaging 21.6 points on 52.1% from the field, 53.1% from 3 on 6.4 3-point attempts. unreal. 8.1 rebounds, which is great because he's usually a low rebound guy. 2.2 assists, 1.3 blocks, a hair under a turnover a game, which is huge. 68.1% true shooting, which is phenomenal. All while with elite rim protection. I mentioned the first quarter scoring in the previous segment, how he's great for us to get off to a hot start, and this man doubled down. He had 15 in the first and 11 in the second, 26 in the first half, finished with 34, 11, 3 and 3, and tied a career high in three-pointer made for 8 for 14 for 57%. It was electric to see. I know it's been a big topic of conversation lately of like, are we going to KP too much? Are we kind of force feeding him the ball? Is it tough for other players to get acclimated with him being, such a focal point? Derek had something to say about that recently. And I think when you see this guy going, now that he's taking, and Jalen mentioned this too, a little bit more of like a leadership role. I don't know if you guys, like I mentioned on previous podcasts, he's got that face when like he's in the zone or he's talking a lot more. It just seems like he's got a little more comfortableness within this starting lineup, which you could see the plus minus has been going up as the games have been stacking up. So I'm a big fan of that. Like you said, Jalen had a great night. It's always great when you see him going to the hole, makes him super efficient, just makes him so much more dynamic of a player. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Jaylen Brown is covering, and also Jason Tatum, covering the, what's it called? Yeah, so most minutes spent tightly guarding a 20-plus point per game ball handler this season. Jaylen Brown, 94 matchups. And then Jason, that's number one. And Jason Tatum is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with 57. The top goes Jaylen Brown, Levine, Garland, Edwards, Irvin, Tatum, Bonds. All those guys average 20 plus, and going against another person as 20. It's just like he's sitting down on both ends. So it's really good when he's becoming efficient because his defense has been, pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, his on-ball defense for sure.
Yeah, not off-ball, not at all.
Also, I want to give
Springer some credit. I thought Springer's been good the past couple of games. I mean, he's provided some energy. He was decent against the Bulls.
Get that trade value up.
Maybe a showcase for the league. I don't know.
Get those minutes in.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, like if he hits 33% or 35%, it's like kind of like league average 35%, and he gives you that type of defense, it's a great trade piece.
He could be valuable for us too, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe if he does hit his threes
in the playoffs, and like if
if
10 minutes of Springer chasing you around, it can help. Yeah, even Donovan Mitchell. So
I've heard people on there's quite a few people on X that cover the team are saying that you probably shouldn't trade Jaden Springer from some of the things that he's showing on the court so far this year. And like you just said, he could probably chase Brunson around.
You can get a big upgrade, but
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
a real upgrade, but like, can you get the same type of wing off the buyout market? Then you have the extra roster space. So it's like you got to see what happens when guys start getting bought out later on in the year.
Jason, did you see the report about the Yabu suitors?
Yeah, so it's I sent it in the group chat. So I know the Celtics are one of them. I believe the Grizzlies are another team. I gotta go up. Oh, it's Celtics, Knicks, Nuggets are the three teams that are interested in Yabusele as of right now.
The Sixers got to figure it out because either that pick's going to OKC or they got to really, start.
They've won 4 in a row.
What's going on? As soon as the fan base is like, I'm happy with tanking, now they're just winning all these games.
And if they think
he can get healthy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's realistic because they're winning games, and I think he's really good. So, like, I don't know why you would trade him when, like, I don't know, Embiid's never reliable. So you know he can be there next year and play with Maxey. And I mean, it would be insane to me for them to trade Yabusele, but he would be unbelievable for us. He would be unbelievable Al Horford replacement down the road. He would also be unbelievable for those other two teams that we just talked about. I mean, if Yabusele goes to the Nuggets somehow, I mean, now you have Aaron Gordon 2.0, and when Aaron Gordon's off the court, you have another big, dominant, big guy who shoots the ball better than Aaron Gordon. So it's like, ooh, that could be scary. Him playing off Jokic could be pretty scary.
Yeah, Yabu averages 10 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists. His shooting, though, 50% from the field, 40% from three on 3.8 attempts. That's just super valuable in today's league.
Unbelievable.
I think the only thing is they're not going to want Springer back, you don't think, because we got Springer from them. And then I guess
So I don't think
maybe
it's realistic.
Yeah, I mean, unless they want Tillman for some weird reason. You want Tillman and a second round pick for Yabusele.
It would be picks. Like, I don't know how many of our first rounders we have.
But you trade first rounders for him.
I mean, you got to
Imagine our first rounders are going to be in the high 20s, but I don't think the Sixers are. I don't think you're getting him from one of these other teams. If you're just offering Springer or Tillman in a second, you know what I mean? Denver probably beats you and some of these other teams. You probably have to put a first in there.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, the deadline, I believe, is, if I'm not mistaken, is it next week? Next Thursday?
I believe.
So
it's coming.
There's going to be some action, that's for sure. I'd expect the Celtics to pick up someone, I'd assume. Some body of, whether it's a big or a forward, a wing, backup wing, whatever they think that they need, I'm sure they're going to try to get. If they need
right. I just want to see who comes on the scrap heap, because every year there's somebody there. Like, do the Bulls just cut Torrey Craig or something like that? Like, do we have to trade for let's say a player of the caliber of Torrey Craig, who's a 10th or 11th man? Do you trade assets for that, or you just say, I can get that same guy off the waiver wire, or I can call O'Shea Brissett and say, are you ready? You want to come back and sit and play spot minutes once in a while? And then you don't have to trade anything. So I just don't want to trade anything of value for a guy who is not going to, give you too much.
Yeah. And also, Yabu is 29, so it's not like he's like super young.
Whatever the case. Well, we're going to see what happens. So we're going to move to a couple of questions that we have that we're going to discuss.
Let me tee up the hypothetical for both you guys. This is my hypothetical. I want Jason's opinion too. We good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
So for everybody around it, is it, what are the Celtics in their last 20, 11-9 or whatever? They've been playing 500 basketball since mid-December now at this point. Woe is me, Celtics fans. We got to fire Joe, and everything's terrible. So, would you take the way they're playing right now? 500 basketball. They lose some close ones here and there. They don't show up some nights. Other nights they win by 35 points and dominate games. So we know it's still there, but the consistency's not been there. So would you take 500 basketball the rest of the year, which in the East would essentially guarantee you a top 4 seed, probably guarantee you a top 3 seed, or would you rather them play 30-6 in their last 36 games? Really be hitting their stride, dominating, looking like the team that they were all last year, but maybe say one of their top 6 is nicked up, and maybe it's not even one of their best 3 players. Maybe it's just Horford's nicked up, or maybe it's Hauser has a back issue, or one of these, or Pritchard's rolls an ankle. Who knows? So what would you guys rather have?
I think for me, it's got to be option 1, right? Play 500, guaranteed top 4 seed, everybody healthy,
and everybody healthy.
Yeah, that's what I would pick.
I'll take mystery box number 2. I don't want to go 18-18 the rest of the season. I don't think I can make it personally throughout as a viewer.
I agree with you. I like that, because it's true. Like, watching night to night as a fan, it's like, no, I want to see these guys. And there is something to be said about, like, playing your best basketball, throughout the season. Like, I would be nervous. As much as I like option 1 because I believe in this team and I've seen him win and seen him do all the stuff. But there is something to be said that if they just played 500 the rest of the year, I would definitely be going into the playoffs. Like, I'll pick us versus anybody, but I really don't know. I'm not super confident, especially when we start playing like the Knicks or Cleveland, or get to the finals potentially. So there is something to be said. It's just, which one are the Celtics? Like, what in that locker room, what are they thinking? Because, like, some of these games you're thinking, I mean, you watch the effort and it's like, there's no way that these guys are like, they're conserving themselves. It's like, all right, like that Raptors game a few weeks ago, it's just like, these guys they just rolling the balls out there tonight, and they're hoping they can beat a bad team. And when you do that, once in a while, you're going to lose to a bad team, or it's going to be a close game against a crappy opponent, and you might lose it at the end.
So, it's tough.
But it's just, I don't know. I mean, I've seen this team do it. So, like, if they're healthy, and especially if Porzingis is healthy, and Al, because, we're the two big guys are tough for us to lose one of them. It's like, I'd still pick us over anyone else in the East in a series if we were 18-18 the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And that leads to
My second one is outside of Oklahoma City, which teams have actually been consistent throughout the whole year? Like, we've seen what Cleveland's going through of late. And, like, you have the Knicks are on a little 6-game winning streak right now. But take Oklahoma City out of it and maybe just look at the East and tell me a team that you'd be confident to say, listen, right now I like them over the Celtics in a series, even if we don't have home court.
I don't like anybody over the Celtics, but Cleveland has been playing unreal. They have a little skid here, 6-4 the last 10, but still they've put together things that the Celtics have not been lately. Is huge win streaks. And that's just consistent play with guys out, guys in. It doesn't matter. They won last night with no Garland, and they're getting production from everybody. And that's the one thing I do worry about them is their role players get like a lot of momentum when they're hitting their shots, and like it just snowballs. Very similar. They're just like Celtics last year. That's what it really comes down to.
Everybody's shooting the ball well on the Cavs.
They're shooting like over 40% as a team, which is bananas.
My question is
the Cavs – can the Cavs do the same thing the Celtics did last year, where the Celtics shot the crap out of the ball all season, but then they didn't shoot the crap out of the ball once the playoffs came, and especially in the finals? Like, they weren't really unbelievable from three, especially their best player, especially Tatum, and they were still able to overcome all that and win. So it's like, I don't know that Cleveland, sure, like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're playing better than the Celtics right now, but, like, are they going to – if they regress a little bit, some of these role players in the playoffs, when stuff gets a little tighter and – your butt cheeks are clenched a little bit, nerves are kicking in. I don't know. Like, do they have the horses to overcome that? I don't know. It remains to be seen. And I know the Celtics can overcome that because I've seen them do it.
The only other one is maybe not as consistent, but the Knicks have the firepower to at least, like,
for sure,
offensively, to really make you, like, work. You have to work for those guys. The spacing's unreal. Jalen Brunson is an ISO machine. Dude, Josh Hart, he's unreal. He has like one of the highest win shares, like in the whole league.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of like, I guess what I always come down to though is like everyone said the West was like super tough this year and the East was trash. The East has way more of the better teams than it does the West. You just have like
top tier,
more top tier teams over here.
Top three seeds. Who outside of Oklahoma City, I'd say the top three in the East, I'm taking them over any of the other two teams in the West, Houston and Memphis, in a playoff series. So it's like, 100%. And if Milwaukee's a 4 or 5 seed, like, I'm sorry, if you have Damian Lillard and Giannis, like, I still respect them as a Celtics fan. I think the Celtics would beat them, but like, Damian Lillard can go crazy in a series, and Giannis is Giannis. Like, he's gonna get 35 and 10 every night on 60% shooting. It's just so.
I think for me, the teams that I think I'd be, or the teams that are more consistent, I mean, besides OKC, I mean, I'm looking, like, the Rockets aren't doing too bad, but, like, I don't really see any team that can, like, match
and in
the
a playoff
Celtics
series for the Rockets, and they've been awesome this year, but, like, who's scoring for them when stuff gets tight in the playoffs? Fred VanVleet and Sengun?
No.
I don't know.
Like, honestly, I don't. It's you're right. They're very streaky. Like, Amen Thompson isn't getting 33 a game, right? He's not that type of scorer. Van Vliet isn't. You're right about that. Like that. I don't know who they go to. Probably they just feed Sanguine and Jalen Green
pick and
probably
roll
all the time.
Right. And Jalen Green's streaky, so it's a weird year. I mean, especially at the top of the West. Like, if there's some strange teams they're good. But it's just like, I don't know if they're great, especially when stuff gets tight in the playoffs.
Yeah,
in the East, I think, like you said, when stuff gets tight in the East, the Knicks have scorers. They can go get a bucket if they need to get a bucket. The Bucks can go get a bucket. They got dudes. And even Memphis, it's like yeah, but like he doesn't shoot the ball great. It's like they have 12 good players, but like do they have any that when it comes down to it are going to go win you a game? And that I don't know.
The
Yeah,
only
he's
thing
getting hurt a ton too.
the only thing I kind of am wary about now. I listened to the most recent Bill Simmons podcast, and he was talking about how the East might be how it was in the 80s when the Lakers kind of had a cakewalk to go to the finals every year, and the East had to fight like the Pistons. They had to there's like a dog, like an actual like dog match going all the way up into like the finals, and that may happen to us this year because it's so top heavy over here. We're gonna beat the shit out of each other, and whoever's standing like last is going to maybe be hobbling to the finals, and whoever's in the most likely OKC, right? It's going to be over here a little bit more refreshed, or Denver, because Jokic is playing out of his fucking mind, like I mentioned last podcast, and revitalizing Westbrook and everybody else over there. It looks pretty promising.
Speaking of that, I have a hot take about that, about the West. I think the Nuggets are going to go to the finals. I don't think it's going to be Oklahoma City. I like the Nuggets coming out of the West. They still have the best player. I'm sorry. I need to see it from OKC more. They're dominant during the regular season. Fine. They're putting up great numbers, but I don't know. Can you survive off Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's long twos, all playoffs long? I don't know. And let's see what the Nuggets do at the deadline. And then
now whistle swallowed.
OKC, exactly. And if you're OKC, you're begging the Nuggets to keep winning because imagine the Nuggets are the 4 seed and you got to play them in the second round. That's tough.
Yeah.
Second round opponent because you don't have the best player in that series, and in every other series they'll have the best player.
So I do want to move to the All-Star snubs though, and the All-Star who got announced. I think it was last night. The reserves were announced last night. And for you guys, give me your top 3 snubs for each conference that you think should have made it.
My West snubs are Nolan Powell, Kyrie Irving, and Sabonis. I understand Sengun and Sabonis have similar stats, but Sabonis actually playing a lot better. But they rewarded winning. I'm a big fan of rewarded winning. I get it. But what Kyrie's doing without Luka too, pretty unreal. And Nolan Powell, he's probably the best player over there.
Right.
James Harden should not be on the All-Star team this year. Kyrie's playing awesome. Kyrie's been a dog this year, and I don't know how they and he's got name recognition. It's like it's Kyrie Irving, like he's an NBA champ. Like I don't know how James Harden gets that not over him. And for me in the East, it's like the biggest one in the East is LaMelo, and I get all the arguments that the coaches didn't pick him. He's really not a winning player, but if we're going to complain about ratings and all this stuff, like he's clearly super popular. Put him on the All-Star team. And the other one's Trae Young, who just gets disrespected every year because he's 5'11" and has it.
Who are you going to put on over Trae Young? I think everyone on the East is pretty sound, which is why I really didn't have too many. I know the Melo Ball, I'm with you on that. If you're going to have one of the most popular players not on the All-Star team, it's just what are you doing as an NBA
anyone on the East that shouldn't have made it? I think all those guys are good. I'm actually happy Tyler Hero made it. I think he's
me too, to be honest.
And he's a good player. He's an unbelievable offensive player. But it's the popularity of the player should it should get him in somehow. I mean, remember a couple of years ago when Andrew Wiggins was an All-Star starter and it was what's going on with this?
Oh, right.
He was a starter 2 years ago on the All-Star team.
The only problem I have this year is and I know we drink the green Kool-Aid, you're looking through green glasses, but the Cavs having 3 fucking All-Stars is bananas. They literally having the same season we had last year, but for whatever reason they need to have 3 when Porzingis was putting up just the same amount of statistics that he's doing this year or better than what the Cavs are doing this year. It's just so mind-boggling.
Last year, yeah. Porzingis should have been an All-Star last year, and I'm a little upset about that too.
Why did the Cavs fucking me?
3, but we didn't. Yeah, come on, get out of here.
The bias is wild. Now we reward winning. Now
people love the Cavs.
We were getting gaslit all last year about it doesn't really matter what you used to do in the regular season. You got to prove it. And now, oh my goodness, the Cavs.
Yeah, now it matters. Funny how that works.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Celtics got a big
Stretch coming up. A lot of top tier competition. We got the Pelicans tonight, but I mean in Philly, I guess we got to get them back for the Christmas Day loss. But at Cleveland on Tuesday, Dallas comes in Thursday. We're in New York for the Knicks next Saturday. At Miami, we got San Antonio, and then it's leading up to the All-Star break. So you got some measuring stick games, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
You got to finish strong. You got to come correct. You can't be going out there limp. I need that full leg. I need that.
All right, so that will do it for us. You guys can follow us at HA Courtside, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.